full A+ലേക്കുള്ള വഴി ഇനി തനിയെ തുറക്കാം. Subscribe to the ENCLAPS channel. Ring the bell button and open success. It's that easy.
Hello dear. A new era in the history of India has begun in 1498 when Vasco da Gama came in Calicut. It marked a turning point in the history of Kerala. The arrival of Portuguese by the end of the 15th century laid the foundation of colonial occupation in Kerala, affecting fundamental changes in all spheres of the society. The Portuguese aimed to end the Arab and Chinese trade monopoly in the Kerala coast. They demanded Samorin, the ruler of Kozhikode, to expel Arab merchants from Kozhikode. When Samorin rejected this demand, the Portuguese sought the help of Kochi, the enemy state of Kozhikode. The Samorins' navy, under the leadership of Kunyali Marakkar, lost to the Portuguese. The port at Kozhikode acted as a gateway to medieval South Indian coast for the Arabs, the Chinese, the Portuguese, the Dutch, and finally the British. The Portuguese, the Dutch, the English, and the French were competing each other for trade monopoly in Kerala. This competition was mainly for black pepper. The Dutch expelled the Portuguese from Kerala in 1663. In 1741, Marthandavarma of Travancore, with the help of the British, defeated the Dutch in the Battle of Kolachal. So, the Dutch were forced to leave Kerala. After defeating the French in the Carnatic Wars, the British possessed trade monopoly in South India. Like any other Europeans, British also had great interest in Kerala. They too were attracted by the spices and other natural treasures of the land. British supremacy in Kerala started by the mid-17th century and lasted for the next 200 years until independence. The foundation of British supremacy in Kerala was in 1615 when Captain William Keeling, a representative of the English East India Company, came to Kerala. He signed a trade agreement with the Samorin of Kozhikode. Later, the company started warehouses at Virinyam, Talasheri and Anjutenga. They obtained the permission from the Queen of Attingal to build a fort at Anjutenga. The natives were furious when Anjutenga became a British military base. This kind of leads to the first organized revolt against the British in Kerala, and it is known as the Attingal Revolt. The Attingal Revolt refers to the massacre of 150 East Indian Company soldiers who were on their way to hand over gifts to the Queen of Attingal. Malabar came under British control in 1792 as per the Srirangapattanam Treaty between the British and the Mysore rulers. In 1792, Kochi Rajya also accepted British supremacy. According to the Treaty of 1795, Travancore admitted British dominance. In short, the British ruled Malabar directly and Kochi and Travancore indirectly. And like we said earlier, whole of Kerala came under the control of the British by the end of 18th century. With the establishment of British supremacy by the Treaty of Srirangapattanam in 1792, the history of Kerala subjected to changes. The period after this can be considered as a period of challenge and response. The British challenge of domination had an equal response from the native chieftains and people. When the British tried to establish their supremacy over the land, resistance against their domination broke out in various parts. The early native resistance were mainly led by the dispossessed local princes, feudal chieftains, aggrieved peasants, tribal communities and others. The revolt of Palashiraja in Malabar, Paliyatachan in Kochi, the Kurichiyas in Wayanad and the Maplas in Eranad and Valluvanad are examples of such resistance movements. Let's examine them in detail. First, we will talk about Palashi revolts. The most serious and widest revolt against the British in South India was of Kerala Varma Palashiraja, who is pictured by the British as Kottayot Raja and is popularly known as Kerala Simham. As he belonged to the Pattincherry Kovilagam branch of the Kottayam royal family, which had its headquarters at Palashi, the rebellion is called as the Palashi Revolt. The British promised Palashi the right to collect tax from Kottayam regions as a reward for helping them in wars against Mysore. But after winning the war, the British refused to keep their promise. Moreover, they claimed their dominance over Wayanad. Palashi Raja organized the people and fought against the British. He unleashed guerrilla war against the British with the help of Chemban Pokar, Kaideri Ambu, Edachena Kungan and Talakil Chandu, the leader of Kurichas in Wayanad. He was assaulted his life on 30th November 1805 in the fight against the British. The death of Palashi Raja symbolized the collapse of the resistance movement. The other leaders either committed suicide or were killed in encounters or deported. In true sense, Palashi Revolt was a popular struggle or people's war for national liberation. Veluthambi, the Diwan of Travancore, and Paliyatachan, the Diwan of Kochi, reacted against the uncontrolled intervention of British residents in their internal affairs. Veluthambi sought the support of the people and called for armed fight against the British through the Kundara Proclamation issued on 11th January 1809. The combined army of Travancore and Kochi attacked the official residence of the British residence Macaulay. The British army suppressed the revolt raised by Veluthambi and Paliyatachan. Veluthambi committed suicide at Mannadi temple while the British deported Paliyatachan to Madras. That was all about the colonial occupation in Kerala and the early resistances against the British.
3 ലക്ഷത്തിലേറെ വരുന്ന ചോദ്യോത്തരങ്ങൾ ഏറ്റവും കുറഞ്ഞ ചിലവിൽ സ്വന്തമാക്കുവാൻ ഉടൻ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ എൻക്ലാപ്സ് ദ ലേണിംഗ് ആപ്പ്.